What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Wrestlemania reviews. My name is Nomad, and I am here with Wrestlemania 11. I am so off-center. What in the world has happened? But I'm back with my 39 Manias in 39 days. We have finally eclipsed the double-digit mark as far as yesterday goes with Wrestlemania 10. Today we start the second decade of Wrestlemanias, and in my opinion, a much better decade than the previous one. This decade, of course, includes some all-time classics, especially with basically all of WrestleMania 17, which we will get to at some point in the next week or two. But today we are talking about WrestleMania, 11. And we are going to kick things off. Luckily, a much smaller card than I'm used to. I'm not going to complain about that. Probably the smallest card of them all, with only 7 matches on it. Of course, it was a much smaller roster at the time, so it kind of makes sense here. But we are going to kick things off with the Allied Powers, Lex Luger and British Bulldog, versus the Blue Twins, Eli and Jacob. And I guess we're following along the mentality of get the bullshit out the way early, because this match sucked. A lot of nothing. Allied Powers have no chemistry. Allied Powers, of course, were Lex Luger and British Bulldog. It's a Lex Luger match. You're going to get great or you're going to get trash, and unfortunately we got trash this time. They just didn't have anything to play off of. The Blue Twins are just bad. Twin Magic didn't make sense because he just laid down and ate the 2-count pin anyway, so what was the point of doing the twin switch? It resulted in nothing. It didn't alter the course of the match. It didn't change the momentum. It just went from, oh, get my ass kicked, let me swap out my twin. Oh, now he's going to get his ass kicked like you were fresh. What the fuck are you doing? It was just terrible. Horrible overall. Bad opener. Rough match overall. I gave it a 2 out of 10. Rob was a little bit less evil about it, I guess you could say. Gave it a C-. Still not good. It is going to bump this up to a 3 versus a 2. But still not a good opener at all. I do not care about your update. You guys couldn't see that because it was hiding behind the WrestleMania logo. But no, go away. Yeah, we're gonna... Oh, that's not the right card. You. 3 out of 10. Go there. Next up, we have Razor Ramon versus Jeff Jarrett for the Intercontinental title. Razor Ramon won by a disqualification as the Roadie interfered and hit Ramon in the knee. The Roadie was actually Road Dogg, and that was interesting. Didn't realize that at first, but yeah, Roadie was Road Dogg back when he first joined the WWE. And honestly, this match was pretty good. The start of the match was ruined by I mentioned this in previous WrestleMania. This was the match that was ruined by the photographers. So you had a bunch of photographers that they let come into the show to like take pictures for magazines and stuff like that, but they put them all on one side of the ring, and it completely fucked the start of the match. I think one of them got hurt. I'm pretty sure a referee got injured at some point in the night because of this. Not on this match, but at some point, I do believe a referee gets legitimately injured because of the photographers, so that is definitely a point that's going to come up again later. I thought the match itself was decent. Couldn't be 80s or 90s wrestling without a disqualification finish in a WrestleMania, because of course not, as I said before. But overall, I thought the back and forth was great. I thought a young Jeff Jarrett was very active. Razor Ramon can really do no wrong in a lot of ways. So this was a great match. I thought, again, would have liked to have seen a clean finish between the two, but it made sense. You had the Roadie out there, might as well give him something to do. Overall, I gave it a 6 out of 10. Decent match, bad finish. Can't put it above a C because of that. Rob apparently disagreed, thought that it deserved at least a B-, which is going to be a 7. So I gave it a 6, he gave it a 7. That is going to bump it up to a 7 with the 0.5 differential there. So, yeah, I'm good with that. We'll give it the 7 that I thought that it could have been had not had the bad finish. Give it to it anyway, I guess. Moving on. Next up, we have Undertaker versus King Kong Bundy. Listen, Undertaker is forever a phenom, okay? Atmospheric presence is on full display in this match. I'm pretty sure the WrestleMania card was designed, or the title rather, was designed off of his entrance. Absolutely horrifying entrance here. You could tell he is fully in his prime as far as the character is concerned. But this match fucking sucked. All punches, all kicks, all holds. King Kong Bundy cannot go at all. He is way past his prime personally. Undertaker cannot scoop him up for the tombstone, so instead we get a scoop slam and a flying clothesline for the win. I don't think King Kong Bundy really had much of anything besides a few holds. He couldn't even throw his weight around. It was unfortunate, you know. A Taker match should end in a choke slam or a tombstone or a last ride eventually once he pulls that out of his repertoire. He can't do it against King Kong Bundy. He's just, he can't give him anything. So this was just, I legit think this match might almost be worse than the Giant Gonzalez match. I legitimately do. The only difference between the two is there's no aftermatch stuff. There's no Undertaker getting back up. At least Undertaker won this match. He technically won the Gonzalez match by disqualification, but he actually won this match. So they both have pros and cons to them, but man, this just sucked. Like, this match was just boring. It was slow. It was dull. Taker couldn't handle him. I don't even think it was Taker couldn't handle him. It's just King Kong Bundy was just too big, too old, too slow. Couldn't jump to give him leverage. It was bad. 1 out of 10 for me. F. Rob gave it a D minus. D plus rather, actually. So Rob gave it a 3. I gave it a 1. That's going to average out to a 2. Again, this WrestleMania is certainly not starting off great. So hopefully something here redeems this WrestleMania. Otherwise, a small card like this, having 2 very bad matches like this, does not bode well for this card's overall rating. Next up, we have Owen Hart in a mystery partner versus the Smoking Guns, Bart and Bully Gunn. I don't really know much about Bart Gunn, but I do know Billy Gunn. Don't know why. Billy Gunn, not Bully Gunn. Don't know why my phone autocorrected that, so I apologize there. But it's Billy and Bart Gunn. The mystery partner ends up becoming Yokozuna, which is Yokozuna's return after being out for months. Honestly, this match, way fucking better than I expected it to be. Yokozuna's obviously getting even larger than he was. But honestly, he could still move his body around. Like, I was genuinely shocked by how much he was able to go. Again, you know, maybe not quite as good as he could before, like I said, but the Guns were phenomenal in this match. Owen Hart is a Hart. He's always phenomenal. The Guns have great chemistry. Yokozuna's agile enough to move. The peak of this match is definitely between Billy and Owen, because of course they are the two that have the longest careers out of all of them. Unfortunately, as we all know, Owen Hart's career was eventually cut short by a horrible accident. But while he was here, he was on top. He was absolutely phenomenal. They produced a good, if not spectacular match, just the two of them. You add Yokozuna, you add Bart, it added another layer to this match. I gave this match a solid 7 out of 10. Rob didn't quite think it was as good. He gave it a C, gave it a 5 out of 10. That is still going to average. The 7 plus 5 is going to average that 12. It's going to average that 6. Oh, sorry, add to 12, average out to 6. So, still a decent match, still a good enough card on here, and it kind of offsets these two, so I think we're currently sitting around that 5 or so range here so far on this much reduced card. It would help if we didn't have a stinker on the match, and unfortunately, we do. We have Bret Hart and Bob Backlund in an I Quit match with Roddy Piper as the referee. I don't necessarily like I Quit matches too much. I feel like they can get very slow and methodical and repetitive. You add on the fact that Roddy Piper wanted to shove a fucking microphone down their throats every 5 seconds. What do you say? What do you say? Like, it's just, he said it the same cadence. He said it repeatedly. He said it after every move, after every 5 seconds. You could literally tell that Bob and Bret were getting tired of it in the match. They were getting frustrated, and you could tell it wasn't character frustration. It was, this is a bad idea. Get that out of my mouth right now. It was rough. It ruined the match. I was so sick and tired of hearing him talk. This was worse than that commentator during the very first Jake the Snake match that kept talking about the snake in the back, if y'all recall, back in WrestleMania 2. This was worse. than that, and I didn't think it could get worse than that. Just absolute horrible. It's all holds and counters. And again, it's an I Quit match, so it's going to be a lot of holds and counters. Abysmally boring. Roddy made it worse. He didn't even say I quit. He just said yes. Roddy said, "What do you say?" And he said yes. Didn't quit. And then he called the match. Shitty ending, shitty match. I gave it a 1 out of 10. Bret Hart with a fucking stinker. It sucks, but it happens to everyone, I suppose. This match was terrible. Rob gave this match a D, so he didn't give it much better. I'll move it up to a 2, because of course it's going to average that out with the D and everything. Whether he gives him a 2 or a 3, it's going to end up going there, so I'll put it as a 2. Still a stinker. I hope something's going to redeem it. But thank God we actually have something that might. Next up, we have Diesel, who came out with Pamela Anderson, versus Shawn Michaels, who came out with Jenny McCarthy, and of course, Psycho Sid, because you gotta have him in a WrestleMania. God, he's becoming just like Hulk Hogan. This is for the World Heavyweight Championship. The biggest match of the night. I thought it should probably main event, but of course you have a celebrity coming up next, so gotta give him the spotlight, I suppose. But don't let me tell you. Let's go visit Rob for this WrestleMania's match review. What's going on, guys, and welcome to the match review here for WrestleMania 11. Today we're going to be talking about Shawn Michaels versus Diesel and other matches relating to it. I am here with, once again, Robert Tito.
What's up?
What's up? Here to talk about Shawn Michaels versus Diesel. This is, of course, for the WWE Heavyweight Championship. In my opinion, probably should have been the main event besides Lawrence Taylor and them having to shoe in the celebrity, which I'm obviously going to talk about here in a little bit. What did you think about this match? Obviously, it was a little bit different seeing the big guy get his ass kicked. Yeah. Normally, the big guys are usually the heels. This time, the big guy was the face. Don't know how well that worked out entirely. But very interesting seeing the big guy get his ass kicked for most of it.
So, I gave this match an A, but I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10. I would easily give it a 9 out of 10 for sure.
I gave it an 8, so I think it's where it ended up landing was about a 9.
Okay. But, yeah, I mean, Shawn Michaels is Shawn Michaels. I mean, nothing else really to say about him. Diesel looked great during this.
Diesel had a stretch of about 3 or 4 years where he looked
phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, as wrestling fans, we all make fun of Kevin Nash for his injury history, his bad moves, his jackhammer powerbomb, which has injured a lot of people. But, I mean, the man put on some good matches. This is one of them, right? And even then, Shawn Michaels made his... Did I say jackhammer? I meant jackknife.
Yeah, jackknife. That's okay. I was going to let the comments destroy you.
Shawn Michaels, took the bumps phenomenal. Kevin Nash's big boot, to me, is unmatched next to maybe Test. Test has an underrated boot.
That's all he's good at.
I mean, Maven was only good at drop kicks.
Yeah. That doesn't make it any better.
But anyways, this match overall had the crowd feasting. God.
Well, then again, the crowd, listen, I've said it before. Back in the 80s and 90s, and Shawn Michaels, you could punt a baby into the crowd and they would have cheered for it. Shawn Michaels could have
no wrong.
Shawn Michaels could have spit in a woman's mouth in the front row, and she would just probably die on the spot. Had happiness.
You could have had AIDS while doing that, and she would have said thank you.
All right, that was too far. Anyway, had to ruin it. You had to fucking ruin it. You had to ruin it.
I mean, I didn't.
Anyway, I really enjoyed this match. I thought that these two had great chemistry, which I'm were these two friends outside of the ring, or these two
100%.
Okay, yeah.
This was
like a dream match.
This was before the curtain. I mean, not the curtain call, when Kevin Nash and Scott Hall left for WCW.
Yeah. I listen. You could tell that they had great chemistry in the ring together. They worked well together. They were excited for this match. You could tell. It was for the championship, so you knew they were going to come hard and heavy with it. I really enjoyed this. It was Shawn Michaels again. Should have main evented the entire event, in my opinion. But I was just absolutely entertained from start to finish. Again, Diesel had a stretch. I mean, even his match against Undertaker. I think it's in 12. I think, I'm not sure. But even his match against Undertaker is excellent. It was actually Undertaker's first good match in the streak. His stretch here was phenomenal. Definitely, the fall of Kevin Nash should be studied. The meteoric rise of Shawn Michaels was in full effect here before he got injured in a little bit. But absolutely just remarkable match. Great chemistry, great combat between the two of them. Let me see if I have any other notes outside of that.
I'm going to add. So there's a reason why, wrestling fans for years made fun of him, of Diesel, Kevin Nash, right?
Mm-hmm.
More or less Kevin Nash. But when he came back in the Royal Rumble, I think it was like 2012 or 13, he came back as Diesel, and fans went fucking nuts. It wasn't because it was like it's a returning superstar, because he had a story with CM Punk, but he came back as Diesel, exact same gimmick, and people were like, "Oh man, he's back," and he looked great then too. So, I mean, why not relive the glory days? That's,
Yeah, I will say this. One thing I did note on here, and I mentioned this in the actual beginning of this review. The photographers were around the ring, and they were blocking one side of the ring, and they fucked up a good portion of this match. I actually think this match could have been arguably a 10 out of 10 had two major spots not gotten absolutely fucked up by those photographers. The beginning of the match was ruined. I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure one of the photographers literally caused the referee to, I think, tear an ACL or break his ankle or something like that. Yeah, you could actually watch. The referee was trying to do something, and there was a camera in his way, and he stepped on it, and his leg twisted, and he's little. If you watch the match back towards about the last fifth of the match, the referee is limping on his left leg. He can't put any pressure on it.
Oh,
he stepped on a camera.
I gotta rewatch that.
Yeah, it was either when they were outside and he bumped into him, but it wasn't a planned ref bump. The ref is literally not pressing down on his left leg. Legitimately injured one of the referees.
Wow.
So you never really see photographers around the ring ever again after this, and I'm pretty sure that's why.
I think what you're talking about, set the stage for
the barricade,
the cameramen that are constantly running around the ring. So if you've never gone to a live event, there are a ton of cameramen, and they're running all around. But the thing is that they know they have the earpieces of where to go. So I feel like this was the precedent of, hey, y'all need to wear these earpieces so we can tell you where to go, where the next spot is, so you can get the fuck out of Dodge and not get hurt, and or, now that you're pointing it out, hurt a referee, a superstar, and or potentially, run and hit a fan with a big, heavy piece of equipment,
Exactly. So, again, great match. Hurt by those photographers a little bit for me. That's why I gave it an 8. But yeah, overall, great match. Enjoyed it. Loved it. Deserves the A that we're going to give it. That is that. Back to me. That's your cue. You say it. I always say it.
Back to me?
That's not... Okay, back to me. So yeah, as I was saying before, I definitely, Rob gave it an A. I gave it a very high B, just because of the ref getting injured, as I said earlier. But yeah, that's going to be averaging out. I'm going to give it a 9. We'll put it at a 9. We'll move it up, 8 to 9. That's fine. Yeah, at least we have something to redeem the stinkers that I've had on this card. Definitely a very short card, by the way. There really isn't much to talk about. These matches just kind of existed. I wish there was more to break down, but this might be probably my quickest review based on the time I see of this recording. So that is certainly something. Next up, we have the main event, which is Lawrence Taylor. Yes, LT, that Lawrence Taylor, with his all-pro football team versus Bam Bam Bigelow and his posse of WWF big men. There's a lot of them. I didn't actually get all their names, so I don't actually know who they all were, but there was a lot of them. Basically in an Iron Man match. As far as celebrity matches go, I actually really enjoyed this one. This one was very fun and entertaining. I thought LT carried himself well. Bam Bam Bigelow was extremely safe. Bam Bam, it was an excellent fight. There was some fighting outside, of course, with the two All-Pro teams, and as you would expect, they kind of got tussling a little bit here. I really enjoyed the fact that football and WWE kind of combine a lot. You see it a lot in modern times, too. Greg Kittle got involved last year. I'm pretty sure you're going to have some Philadelphia Eagle in the WrestleMania match this year, I'm sure, in some capacity. So you see it all the time. This was much more direct and on the nose. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed this match. It wasn't great wrestling, but it was fun to see. LT was feeling it. He got into it. He didn't make it a joke. He took it seriously. Bam Bam protected him well. He sold well for him. I was entertained throughout. I gave this a 7 out of 10. Rob wasn't quite as entertained by this match as I was. He gave it a C, which is going to be a 5. This match is going to average out to a 6, but luckily, this WrestleMania needed it bad. So in another above average match, let's figure out exactly what this is going to average out to. I swear, I wasn't trying to rush through this WrestleMania. There just wasn't a lot here. WrestleMania 11 just kind of existed, which is really unfortunate. So this WrestleMania actually averages out to an even 5. The 2s obviously got hurt a lot by the 7-6 and the 7 and 2 6s obviously got outrolled by the two 2s. The 9 is at least enough to bring it up a little bit. Yeah, so this ended up breaking out perfectly even at that 5 range. I think this is a very suitable match. I think this is a suitable card. Very average WrestleMania. Bookended by that great Diesel and Shawn Michaels match and the horrible Undertaker King Kong Bundy match. Everything between evens out to a very average WrestleMania. So, yeah, that's all I've got for you this time, guys. WrestleMania 11, a very short WrestleMania, a very small card, and nothing monumental or really notable happened outside of that Diesel-Shawn Michaels match. So, yeah, that's all I got. You guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you tomorrow, WrestleMania 12.